From Pippo17173, what is the most overrated episode of MLP in your opinion? I was originally going to say Return to Harmony Part 2, but with Season 3, I'd say Magic Duel. It's not just the same reasons I was disappointed about, but there was a lot of reviewers who stated it was a fantastic episode, and I found it nowhere near those lines. It wasn't bad, but there was so much that could have made it more deservingly well praised as it is now. Unfortunately, not many of you agree with me on that one. From Marilyn Brony, where do you live? About an hour north of Los Angeles. I'm not going to give any further detail than that. From Annoying Orange, MLP73, what is your worst episode of MLP, and have you watched the YouTube series The Darby Show? If you mean by worst review that I've done for the show, it would probably be just for Sidekicks. But for worst episodes alone, it's either Super Speedy, Cider Squeezy 6000, or, again, just for Sidekicks. But to answer the second half, no, I haven't watched The Darby Show, nor have I heard of it. Number 2. Do you watch The Angry Video Game Nerd, Nostalgia Critic, Strabus Skunk, Black Nerd Comedy, and Screw Attack? With the only exception of Black Nerd Comedy, yes. Number 3. Have you watched Sailor Moon? And what is your target audience? I ask because I'm an 11-year-old female who likes your videos. Cute OC, by the way. Well, young lady, to answer your first half, yes, I have watched Sailor Moon, but I'm just not all that into it. With the regard of the target audience, I would normally go for something more adult, but I instead try to keep myself more open to all sorts of media because I don't intend to limit myself. I've got too many limits as it is. I hope that answers your question, and I thank you for the OC compliment. Next, from Mr. Cartoon Lover 777. Number 1. Since Rich Moore has an idea for Wreck-It Ralph 2, being that the characters will explore online and console gaming, what games do you think would be funny or cool to see Ralph end up in? I presume RPGs, since they're the most popular genres in modern games next to first-person shooters. And there's also a possibility that there could be older video games that would be a part of, since they were first before 3D gaming consoles. But I don't know yet. This is just a thought that I have in mind. I'm sure Richard has something in the works that would expand the universe. Number 2. Do you have a favorite episode for each season of MLP? If so, what episodes? For Season 1, it's either Winter Wrap-Up or the Cunimar Chronicles. Season 2, either Hurricane Fluttershy or A Canterlot Wedding. And for Season 3, Sleepless in Ponyville or Wonderbolt's Academy. From Death Christ 2000, what are your thoughts on the Conversion Bureau and Adventure Time? Seems like you guys ask me a lot of titles that I'm not too familiar with, and I'm sorry to say it, but I'm not familiar with the Conversion Bureau. Adventure Time, on the other hand, I have seen on Cartoon Network, and I understand its entertainment value. Much like a regular show, Adventure Time has some adult jokes and humor that doesn't have to be explicit or inappropriate, just some modern dialogue that would feel like Wayne's World. But for all else, Adventure Time just isn't for me. Part of that is because it's mostly a fantasy setting, and much weird content is to be expected in a way. Regular Show, on the other hand, takes place on a modern-day setup where anything far-fetched will take place when you at least expect it. If you like the series and you still have fun with it later on, that's perfectly fine. I have no grudge on that. From Lightning 3003, what is the worst TV show you've ever seen? This is a tie between a cartoon and a live action. The cartoon was Mega Babies. It was crude, it was disgusting, and it had no idea what it was trying to do. Was it supposed to be a superheroic action series like the Powerpuff Girls, or was it trying to be Ren and Stimpy? Either way, neither side worked. The worst live action, on the other hand, was Super Sweet 16. MTV has been known through many recent times that they had a poor line of mainstream titles. Nothing was worse than this, though. What followed was the premise alone, which was just a teenager who shows off her best party for her 16th birthday party, planning it all out, and nearing to the end of the episode, they're given a luxurious car. Wow, and I thought I was spoiled. The only point I see behind this is just to make the audience jealous. That's all I see out of it. Fucking terrible. It was an embarrassment to civilization as we knew it, utterly depressing, utterly pointless, and just so sick to my stomach. But I'm only scratching the surface here. The worst part was that there was an episode centered on a girl named Audrey, which some of you may already have predicted was coming if you're familiar with the show. Upon rehearsing for a dance performance, she was given a luxurious Lexus convertible. Instead of thanking her mother, she threw a fit because she wanted it on the day of the party. Because of that reason alone, she called everything off, scowled at her mother, started stating her life was ruined. Ugh, my brain hurts out of so much stupidity. I can't say any more about this. I'll go insane if I continue. From Lilypop Central, what game consoles did you own in your childhood? The Super NES, N64, GameCube, and eventually PlayStation 2. I currently have an Xbox 360, which is still collecting dust because I haven't been playing with them lately. From Levju Brony, number 1. If you have read Vinyl and Octavia University Days, what are your thoughts? While I admire the connection of those two, I have not read the series, nor do I plan to, since I'm not a fan of fan fiction. Number 2. What are your thoughts on cupcakes? While I get the idea that it was meant to be satirical like Pinkie Pie's psychotic nature in Party 1, Cupcakes is just junk. First class junk. Pinkie kidnaps Dash, dissects her apart, the end. Okay, what was the point? What did it accomplish? Why did I bother spending 30 minutes reading it? Just that Pinkie Pie has a dark side? Yeah, so does every other pony. It was just stupid. Next, from Michael Schomer. Number 1. What are your most anticipated films of 2013? There's a lot that's been spewed out, but I haven't been paying much attention lately, due to school and greater concern. I was also an intern, and I had no money for the luxury. Sorry, dude, but I don't have an answer. Number 2. What are your favorite and least favorite films of 2012 and why? Well, those titles are mostly just for fun to watch, which isn't much of a reason, but they are The Dark Knight Rises, The Avengers, and Wreck-It Ralph. I also got through seeing Lincoln not too long ago, and that was a very well done movie. My least favorite, on the other hand, is The Hunger Games, and I actually hated it. Link in the description box for my reasons. Number 3. In your opinion, what makes a good film adaptation? Adaptations are all dependable, whether it's from novels or video games, but there's a balance in between the two that I like to find, staying true to the source material and still entertaining the neutral viewers who are unfamiliar with what it's based on. A good example was with Harry Potter. They were true to the source material, and while some of the pages have been taken out, it still managed to engage the neutral audience. A bad example, on the other hand, goes out to many, but specifically Resident Evil. While I'll admit that I never played the games, even I knew the differences from the movies. The game had a strong potential to be translated into movies with its own narratives, character arcs, and cinematic drama just to be put into play. But sadly, after complicated regulations with Capcom, the movie was miserably a failed result. It had nothing to do with the games, nothing to do with the story, and it had none of the original characters. Now, it is true that the source material doesn't automatically make it good, and it isn't just how it's used. It all narrows down to how everything is worth adapting to in the first place. Green Lantern, for example, is a movie that supposedly is true to the source material, but it's gained a bad reputation. But what was the point of making the Green Lantern? Just for the fans? Again, that's why you need to find an appeal to the neutral audience. I hope that's at least simple enough. From Zan Zider, who is best pony? All of them. Except for the Flim Flam brothers. That's right, come on, let me hear it. Number 2. Why does your pony avatar have wings? Because I chose my OC to be a Pegasus. Problem? From Anonymous26. Have you ever had to deal with a hater? Yes, I have. In fact, a longtime friend of mine was once a hater. I won't give out any details, but we did have a grudge towards each other at one point, and I did everything I could to avoid talking about Friendship is Magic. But somehow it was brought up and we started to go our separate ways. We then called it off and agreed to never talk about it again. Ever since then, we learned to respect our differences. And this is a message to anybody else who involves a hater against Friendship is Magic. From CountryBoy22. Number 1. It's been a while since I watched their Q&A. Sorry if these have been asked already, but what do you think of the bronies on 4chan? I honestly don't pay that much attention to 4chan. While it is true that they do show some inappropriate content and offensive jokes, I don't mind nor care whatever it is that they show. Number 2. If you could change anything about the show, what would it be? I'm not exactly sure, though I'd probably aim towards what Lauren Faust originally intended. From Toon Critic Y2K. If Jimmy cracked corn and he doesn't care, why are the gizzards still stealing my pancakes if our butter treaty is still valid in 32 states? Zach, you're drunk. Go home. And lastly, from SBorder23. How much of an impact has MLP had in your life? Aside from how great it felt to break out of your gender role, MLP cheered me up at a time when I was in the middle of job hunting, and I was at a place where I didn't belong at all. I'll not go too in-depth, but I will say that I was depressed at that time. Getting into MLP has given me something positive to think about back then, and kept my mind out of the gutter. And surprise, surprise, some things were starting to turn up that year. Of course, I used to make it a bigger deal than I needed to be. So that just covers about everything. Once again, I thank you all for providing me your feedback. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask me on my Tumblr, and I should get back to you. So until next time, thank you all for listening in, and I'll see you later.